Should probably just be a test, which you could probably do. I think we can just do it that way. Invert share screens. Okay. Everybody on Zoom, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I
Can you
can hear.
thumbs up? Okay, awesome. And on the screen, do you see us or do you see the PowerPoint?
I see you.
If somebody could talk. Ashley, are you unmuted?
I am unmuted.
Okay, we
Can you
can't hear you. One day I'm going to learn how to do this.
I am not on mute.
I can hear you, Ashley.
Now,
I can hear the
can you
room.
hear
Yeah,
me?
we can't hear any of you guys. Okay, can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me? And a thumbs up if you see the PowerPoint. Don't see the PowerPoint. Okay.
Termata, you hear me? You see the PowerPoint? Because I don't. Okay. Here we go. You see it?
All right, you guys can see the PowerPoint now? Great. We're going to get started in just a moment.
Like we were lost. One thing that they did was one day.
We had,
We could go and sit with. I've been sent out. What do we do? Well, I'll say to you about that. What do we do?
we're gonna get started, so that we don't run over too much. I'm gonna pass around this kiosk for the sign-in. Hopefully you understand how to do it. So I'm gonna get a gavel. So we're gonna go around, we're gonna do introductions. If you could do your name, your organization or affiliation to the council, and give us any update on prevention work that you're doing. If you want to promote anything, now is the time to do that. And the first thing that I would like to say, we're gonna make a rise, right? We have hired a project coordinator. Okay, everybody, this is Caroline Milstead. You're gonna be getting emails from her. She's gonna be helping out with events. So everybody be nice to her. I'm gonna let her introduce herself now. Stop you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline. I'm a college student online at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm hoping to pursue a career in substance abuse recovery. So I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm happy to have this opportunity, and it's great to be on board. Thanks for having me.
I'm Amy Dykes. I am the student support coordinator at North Forsyth High School. And we're thrilled to have Emily back this year. We've been trying to come up with additional ways to utilize Emily as a presence in our building, but one of the things that we're gonna do this year is each month, we're gonna have a very short lesson on some sort of substance for our students, for our student body. Emily's putting those together, so that's been good. We just figured we kind of have a captive audience during that time, and so we're gonna do that. Yeah, I think that's my one and only update, but all good.
I'm Angela Hurt. I have been here before, but I was previously at Forsyth Central as an AP. At the end of the school year last year, I was moved to North Forsyth. So now I'm working with Amy and Emily on a lot of their community strategies. Community school strategies.
I'm Gabby Brighton. I am the substance prevention coach at ACE, which is Forsyth County and Gateway Academy. And that's through the Insight program. Some others at both Gateway and FA and Sentinel. I go there once a week. And we're gonna do a little event this year at Gateway. They got like a home ec class. So I'm gonna try to pull off Iron Chef. I'm really excited.
I'm Mary Alvarez, counselor in the community department. People with no insurance and Medicaid, outpatient counseling, Dollar General.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm with CPS. I don't really have anything to promote. Just I'm serving. My name is Emily Ennis. I'm with the Insight program, but I'm at North Forsyth High School on a daily basis. And I'm the substance prevention coach there. It's going really great this year. So the groups, trying to get some fun things started with the kids. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Julianne Sittler. I'm with Lakeview Behavioral Health Hospital. We do inpatient crisis stabilization for ages 10+. Something new that we're doing, we partnered with the Jason Foundation, which is a nonprofit. So for all you school people, they can come in and do a free suicide prevention training. So if that interests you, we come with me after.
Hey, good morning, I'm Adam Miller, I'm Director of Outreach for No Longer Back.
I'm Sophia Cook. I am the full-time 90 days staff member over at Full Circle, which that's kind of a newer position that I'm in now, which basically I meet with the kids and families for their first 90 days. I guess newest thing that we've been doing, I did my first class for this school year at Little Mill Middle School. That's probably about 2 weeks ago, but we've been going into the middle schools and doing drug prevention and sharing our personal testimonies and things like that. So the next one will be this upcoming Friday. So we're super excited.
Hey everybody, I'm Erin Thomas. I'm with the Connection for Side, the assistant director.
Standing in for Kayla today, she had another outside commitment. Something that we are doing fun and cool at this time is a little bit, is gonna be huge. On Saturday, it's from 1 to 12 or at a village. Yeah. We're gonna have mini courses, super cool, free ice cream. Oh my god, it's great. And we have commissioners and some of the rest intervention team coming, and just a lot of very important people in our community are gonna come out to support recovery and community, and translators for our Spanish speaking population. And it's gonna be huge. So you guys should pick it out. I would love to thank these schools. We're looking for someone. There's a rumor that South has a drug prevention program with their youth. I don't know. I can't connect with them, but if you guys have any of the youth that would like to come out and join us to just learn more about recovery and meet with our community.
Do you have flyers for your event as well?
Oh, I forgot the flyer.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'll email it out to everybody. I'll email it out so you'll get.
There's a flyer.
That's okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Collins. I'm the director of the Full Circle program. Sophia kind of said, we're sure we do a lot of prevention work in schools, which we're super excited about. Potential of us also doing some extra work in the Bolton area as well as Forsyth, so, that's a potential report to us, so we're excited about it.
I'm Katie Lamberson. I'm the coordinator of the addiction counseling program at UNG. And as of last month, we are the only accredited addiction counseling program in the state of Florida. This is Tanner, stepmom of two grown recovering addicts, supposedly. But anyway, I do a lot of mentoring with middle schoolers, and I engage in a mom's group that meets on Monday nights, parents of addicts, so mostly parents. It's really good. I'm Dana Bryan. I'm a former middle school teacher and the mother of a child a daughter who died when she was 15 of a drug overdose. So this is my passion, prevention, and especially with middle schoolers, because when my daughter was a middle schooler and went to rehab, I remember sitting around the circle with parents groups at the rehab center. And, you know, you get to know each one and why they were there and when they were taught. And most of them were there finding out for the first time that their child was involved in drugs, and they might have been 17. But if you ask them when they started, it's usually traced back to either a drug they used in middle school or some choice they made in middle school. So I'm just passionate about that age group.
Board members, Paul Herman, Forsyth County Defects.
Welcome. And then I believe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Meagle. I'm the supervisor of investigations over at Forsyth County DFACS. And we're here today to kind of strengthen our community resources to see what, you know, Forsyth has to offer to help our clients, because most of our clients are clients.
Awesome. And then we can start back there.
Tressa Mathis with CASA of Forsyth County.
Welcome. We're going to skip you and then yes.
Jennifer Johnson, Director of Accountability Court here in Forsyth.
Okay, wonderful. Now I know some of these Zoom representatives had something that they needed to say, but unfortunately I cannot figure out how to get them to be heard. Ashley, can you say something again and see if it worked?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you a little bit. Okay, so we can't see you, but we can hear you. So I'm just going to call you out. And if you could introduce yourself and anything that you want to say to the council. Ashley, you get started.
Okay, I'm Ashley Dickerson, and I'm super excited to be working with Caroline Nelstead now, so welcome. And I just wanted to say that we got the bus tour loaded on the Forsyth local Facebook page, the Cumming City Center, the Focus on Forsyth County, Georgia Facebook page. Each one of those has like 30,000, 30,000, and 50,000 followers, in addition to the huge hurdle of getting this event listed on the Cumming City Center calendar. So that's huge. So if you're a member of those Facebook groups, please go out there and bump it up, because I can only leave so many comments. But I do co-chair the parent program with Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council, and super excited to be going to Gateway later this month to be speaking to parents who whose children are unfortunately or fortunately going to be there to hear our story. And then also I have an opportunity later this month at AT&T to do a lunch and learn and share my story there. And every time I do that, it resonates with a lot of people, either from family member use or self-addiction. So they kind of reach out to me all over and ask me about where to get help. So a lot of opportunity in the month of recovery. So I'm excited.
Thanks, Ashley. Okay, Avi.
Hi, I'm Avi Karamchandani. I know if you can see me because I'm on Zoom, but I'm part of the Youth Council, and I'm also founder of a mental health platform that's built for kids. And I'm implementing a new project with the Drug Council where we have secure anonymous drop-off lockers across key locations in Forsyth County, and residents can safely dispose or store items associated with mental health crisis or drug misuse. And I'm open and needing any and all help. So if you're interested, please reach out to me.
So just to repeat that, it'll be a safety lock for a pill bottle so that you can safely store either your pills at home or somewhere else. So he's going to be kind of passing them out, kind of similar to the Vinayak project with a disposal kit. It'll be a safety locking kit for what you need to keep at home. So again, if there's any school, hospital, anybody who needs those or wants those, that's a project we're doing coming up with Avi. Gabby, you go up next. Gabby Smith.
Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. It's Maureen. I'm using Gabby's account. Can you guys see me?
No, we can't see you. It's my fault, but we
No,
can lovely voice.
Okay, I'm so sorry. It's actually probably mine. But I just wanted to announce, so my name is Maureen Bixler. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the owner of Live Life Counseling. And we are so excited. As of August 28th, we officially got our full license to run an intensive outpatient program for adults and for the youth. So we're starting at age 13 and up. Our youth program runs in the evenings, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 5 to 8 p.m. And we are doing a parent support group and love and logic with the parents while their child is in the group. Our program is a little bit different than anyone in the area. Our adult program actually takes patients who are pregnant. So we're working with Northside Hospital and any hospital system or OBGYN who wants to get a mother help before the baby is born. That is our goal. And then also our youth program and our adult program are trauma focused. So what that means is on Mondays and Thursdays, they're working on addiction and recovery. And on Wednesdays, they are solely focusing on the underlying issues of addiction. And so I'm trained in a lot of different trauma techniques. We're actually going to be utilizing those trauma techniques while they're in our program with hopes that when they graduate our program after 12 weeks, that they are really, working on bettering their mental health and making sure that they don't go backwards. If you graduate from our program, you get free alumni care 3 hours a week for the rest of your life. So we really hope to get this started. We're super excited. We're located off of exit 14. If anybody has a referral, all you have to do is call Live Life Counseling's main number. And if y'all want, do you want me to give that to you just so you have it?
If you could email that to me, I'll email the information out to everybody so you'll have that as well.
Okay, perfect. And I'm actually finalizing the youth advertising stuff. I hope to have that done today, and I will be sending it out to everyone. We're really, really excited. It has taken us a very long time to get this licensure, and we're really ready. We're ready to get it going. So
okay. Sounds awesome. All right, Karen.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Karen Cole. I'm the wellness coach and the community school coordinator at Forsyth Central High School.
Sheil.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sheil. I go to Denmark High School and I'm on the youth council, and I'm looking forward to hopefully starting some sort of initiatives or awareness campaigns soon.
Awesome. Miss Nancy.
I'm Nancy Smallwood. I'm the grants manager for Forsyth County.
Marty.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marty Riveda. I am the co-chair of the parent program with Ashley Dickerson, and had a very successful opportunity to present or to just sit at a table with Emily at North Forsyth a few weeks ago, and had a few parents come up inquiring about the parent program and how to talk to their youth about the activity going on in the school, and how to have that open communication with them as a prevention measure. So very excited for that opportunity. And then, as Ashley mentioned, a few other opportunities coming up in the high schools, but we're open and looking for opportunities to eliminate the stigma and let parents know that no matter where their child is in their journey, whether it's as a youth or actively in active addiction, that there's resources for parents and to eliminate the stigma of them getting help for themselves. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Marty. Sarah.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sarah Pedre. I'm the Director of Forsyth County Community Connection, which is the Georgia Family Connection Partnership for Forsyth County.
Harrison?
Hey guys, for those of you who don't know me, Harrison Watson here. I'm with Realty for Recovery, Jennifer and Lauren. We had a great teacup event. I want to thank all the familiar faces I saw there. Wish I could be there this morning. I'm stuck in traffic, but look forward to meeting everybody.
Awesome. Sharmonda? Sharmonda, can you hear me? Okay, we're going to skip over to Miss Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Clark. I'm the grant administrator for Forsyth County.
Awesome. And Lauren, you want to say hi?
Hi, Lauren Hodge with Realty for Recovery, helping with all things funding through real estate transactions for addiction recovery, and the Teacup Memorial for honoring and remembering our loved ones that we've lost.
Awesome. So great stuff. Wow, our community's doing so much. So wonderful. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce one. You're up. So we have a new representative in our law enforcement sector. I'm going to introduce him first so that we can see him, get to know him. But this is Sergeant Reuter. He's going to be attending our meetings, giving us information. Some of you guys have seen him on Zoom. And our other presenter, we've had him before. He was a little hairier in the face. Now he looks clean cut. But to give us information on the drug task force, Ryan Chapman.
Rudy, you want to introduce yourself first, and then we'll get
Sure.
right to it.
My name is Mike Ruger. Obviously, I'm a sergeant, actually the current new sergeant for the JCAP Drug Task Force. I've been with the Sheriff's Office now just over 15 years. I have throughout my career, I have extensive experience and training when it comes to alcohol and drug impairment. I spent a good portion of my career on our traffic unit when it came to impaired driving. I'm also one of the agency's instructors that teach our deputies out on the street on how to detect impaired drivers through alcohol and drugs and how to administer field sobriety and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I am the same person for y'all that were in the class last year. Had extremely long hair, had a beautiful beard. And they told me that the job that they were giving me was gonna be super fun. They lied to me. So I came out of narcotics, had to cut my hair, had to shave my beard, had to get back to uniform. But I am over our agency training now. So I supervise all of the instructors for our agency to keep all of our agency personnel sworn for the year. So I'm a day shifter now, but with Reuter, I promised him that I would not leave him hanging in his new job and his new responsibility. So I'd already set this class up to come back and teach. So I told him that I would come back and do it one more again. And then after that, it's all good. So we're going to kind of do the same presentation that we did last year, kind of expand on a little bit. Who was here last year to hear the presentation? So I'll give my disclaimer again. I'm very, very blunt. I'm very bold with my presentation. If you want to know the truth, I'll give it to you. Sometimes that's not the most politically correct thing that we do, but I'll give you the data that we have, and I'll give you my understanding of what street drugs are like in Forsyth County and also in Fulton County. So we have a good pulse on what Fulton County is doing versus Forsyth because our drug task force encompasses both jurisdictions. So for our JCAP drug task force, that's Johns Creek and Forsyth. So we have that foothold in Fulton County through Johns Creek. Does anybody know why this task force was created by our sheriff and the Fulton County Johns Creek commissioners? Does anybody know why this was created?
Triangle, the triangle.
It is kind of the triangle, yeah. So it was a big to do with the heroin epidemic at the time that we started in 2018. So it was a way for us to kind of join forces, get together and bring a lot of people together that can fight the crime because of that triangle mentality. Also, who's ever worked a court system in Fulton County? Anybody got the pleasure of doing that? Wow, that's fun. Yeah. So Forsyth County, believe it or not, has a far greater court system, and it's a little bit easier to get convictions on drug crimes, or at least get somebody in front of a judge that's going to say, okay, well, we don't want to send you to prison, but we definitely want to get you some help. So this is going to be that court mandated help that you get. In Fulton County, and it's not a fault of their own, there's just so many people that get arrested in Fulton County. Their court systems are so backlogged that they can't do the things that we do in Forsyth County. So in Forsyth County, it's still possible that you could be arrested for a meth pipe. We'll talk about that here in just a little while. In Fulton County, they kind of look at you and laugh. They're like, hey, why don't you go throw that in the trash? Just go ahead and move on about your day. If you have little bits of, narcotics, typically you're not charged with that. Or if you are, you're what they call OR bond. You're just right out of jail before our investigators even take warrants. So it's a little bit different. So we created the drug task force to kind of pull that North Fulton crew into Forsyth, and we can put them in our court system. Because ultimately they're going to build drugs in Fulton County, Forsyth, wherever they can get it, right? So if we can bring them here to get that court case inside of Forsyth, we actually take care of the problem just a little bit. With our drug task force, it's really cool because you work the lowest level street crimes all the way up to cartel level narcotics. So we do everything in between. Wherever it falls, we don't care. We'll take it. If we find out that you're dealing drugs in Forsyth or Fulton County, we got you. All right. That's how we work it. So that's what I enjoyed about it, because when you get in the higher level DA, FBI, gang task force, all these different things, if it's not pounds of narcotics dope, as we call it, if it's not pounds of dope, they don't care, right? And I just didn't live my life that way. I live here, been here almost 20 years, worked at the sheriff's office. Is the only adult job I've ever had in my life. So this is home. So I like being able to work the lower level street stuff in Forsyth and Fulton County, but then the bigger stuff fun too. All right, so that's kind of a premise of what me and Mike do in our jobs. Honestly, we're just glorified babysitters. We just, babysit a bunch of investigators, a bunch of undercover guys.
Make sure they don't get themselves in trouble.
Yeah, so we just basically make sure that they don't do anything specifically. But for the guys that are actually out there on the streets, they really do a good job of trying to combat the crime that we see in Forsyth and Fulton counties. All right, so that's kind of a little overview of what the task force is. Now we're going to kind of talk about some trends of drugs. Some of the court cases that you'll see on here, there's some pictures. I can kind of go through those now, like I did last year, kind of give you a little updates of what they're doing. And then Reuter, we brought some overdose data, and some things that we do at the task force.
Oh, man.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Don't lie to you.
I'm telling you, it hates me.
That's okay.
It's on. So where's that?
Let me see if I pull it up. Yes, I for some reason it would make a difference. You saw it working, right?
Yeah, where's that piece?
I don't know. Was it not there before?
It's supposed to be in there.
In there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yours works. Did it just die? Is that what you think happened?
No.
No, it buzzed on me.
Maybe.
Maybe. You don't sign that, it's like you never.
I don't even know. Let me go get Lindsay and see if
Okay, cool.
1 second, guys.
You know what I mean?
Broke it already, huh?
What now?
Broke it already.
I try my best.
Batteries. Screen. Definitely no program.
Yeah, it's working on here. It's not working on there. Give us a second, guys. This Zoom stuff is so. It's working on the computer itself. Yeah, it is. It's working on the computer itself. Like I can see, I can change it from here, but it's not.
Oh, it's not, yeah, it's not doing good there.
It's not doing good there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause this for a second. Oh, you know why? I think because it. Okay. Can you do it now by chance? There you go.
Cool, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so I'm not the IT guy, so I didn't break it either. All right, so we're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna kind of highlight a couple of things and then we're gonna move on, okay? We're gonna talk about some of the important things that we have here. And that's really, we're gonna talk about some opioid stuff and kind of talk to you about what we're seeing on the street so that y'all have a better understanding for that. But our job, we have to do narcotics and vice, okay? So we do all the vice stuff in Forsyth and Fulton counties. That's massage parlors, all that stuff kind of falls under us because we in-house all the undercover agents that we have at our agencies. So that is part of ours. So this is drugs in Forsyth and also Fulton County and kind of what we're seeing. It was put to me one day and I really like this, the way that they looked at it. The difference between North Fulton and Forsyth County is really a street sign. Do y'all agree with that analogy? So it's not that it's just crazy different when you get on McGinnis Ferry. The left side of McGinnis Ferry is Forsyth, the right side is Fulton County. It just really has a lot to do with the court systems and stuff, but the street sign is really the only thing that divides the drug trade. And your drug dealers, they understand. They know that, you know, on the left side of McGinnis Ferry, you could get 20 years in prison, and on the right side, you just get a slap on the wrist. I mean, trust me, they know that, okay? So I'll tell you that the way that we do that is we do a lot of our, because they won't come into Forsyth County, we do a lot of our drug deals with an Alpharetta addresses in Forsyth County. So we play their games too, okay? Because if we say, hey, come all the way up to Hammond's Crossing, and they know that's Forsyth County to deal with drugs, they won't come. But if I tell them to come to the in-town suites off of McFarland or the Whisper Suites, that's an Alpharetta address, they think that they're okay. But we just get them to come there. See how that works? It's just a street time, that's all it is. But these are some of the most commonly talked about or used things. Marijuana, guys, in its plant form will always be the king of kings. Why is that? It's not cheap. Holy smokes.
I'll clarify.
Marijuana is not cheap, but two things, yeah, that's really, really good. So it's readily available. So I use that term all the time. It's readily available. What's the second thing? Readily available and socially acceptable is what I call that, right? So readily available and socially acceptable. So those are the two things that we look at with marijuana. That's why it'll always be king. All right. So wherever you find heroin addicts, methamphetamine addicts, whatever they're using, I guarantee you're probably gonna have a gram or two a week somewhere along the way too. That's just the way that it is. And now that it's getting legalized in different aspects, so it's even more that it's here. So think those two terms, readily available and socially acceptable. All right.
It's not going away.
Nowhere.
It's gonna be probably a great chance of it being legal in our lifetime, the next 5-10 years, I would think.
And then for, you know, like if you come talk to a law enforcement officer, because I'm dealing right now with training our department on Delta 8 and Delta 10 and what Forsyth County has done versus other counties. We'll talk about that a little bit. But you talk to a lot of cops and they're like, hey, you know, how do you feel about marijuana? I don't, be honest with you, I don't really care. Because I go off of what the law says, right? That's my job. I don't have an opinion on what the law is, because the law is a law and I'm granted by the state that I have to enforce the laws that they consider to be laws, right?
So my standpoint on the whole marijuana epidemic and everything that's going on is let's pick a lane, okay? Either it is or it isn't legal, because this gray area that we're in all the time just causes us a lot of issues, because now I have to go around, okay, well, if it's this and it says this, that's legal. If it's this and it says this, and this, that's illegal. And kind of wading to do those trenches a little bit, super difficult for us on a law enforcement perspective. So I know how I feel about it and how I felt about it down at the task force. It either is or it isn't legal, so we can't justify going back and forth. Do have some really crazy stories about, you know, trying to get search warrants on marijuana grow houses in Fulton County. Good luck. Whereas for site, we think those are awesome, right? We go get search warrants, no problems. But the way the world views marijuana is completely different, okay? There's people for it, there's people against it, and there's people right in the middle. It causes a lot of issues. THC derivatives, that is big, all right, big money. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Prescription pills, Xanax maybe, but the rest of the prescription pills, you know how much it costs for prescription pills compared to what fentanyl's going for right now? So we'll talk about the differences there. Prescription pills, there are people that still do prescription pills, but when's the last time y'all just went out and bought pills?
Not since I've been.
Not been, yeah, so it's, heroin, we'll talk about that.
Come across it occasionally in possession, like a handful at best. You know, I get a prescription bottle pills filled up like you used to see.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't happen, guys. MDMA, LSD is on its way back. We buy a lot of LSD, 100%, that's back. Cocaine, depends on where you're at, okay? Does everybody know the roads in this county? I make a lot of references to roads. You probably won't find cocaine on Parks Road. All right, you're gonna find methamphetamine on Parks Road, but you're gonna find cocaine at St. Marlowe. It's demographics, okay, and it's money. Does that make sense to y'all? All right, so methamphetamine, guys, I would be honest with you, woo, way up here. All right, you're in the methamphetamine capital of the world. So there is tons and tons and tons and more tons of methamphetamine in Forsyth County. But fentanyl and meth are inching up, and we'll talk about that, okay? So that's kind of basic. We'll skip through E's, we'll skip through CBD. Here's the popular THC products for your adolescents and your middle schoolers and your teenagers. I listen to everything, where you are from, where you do, who you have contact with. This is it, guys, okay? This is it. THC products, THC vapes, edibles, all of these products that you can buy, Colorado, California, get them shipped here. This is the craze, okay? 2 reasons: readily available, socially acceptable, and then the other thing is you are talking some money, okay? So typically what we see with these THC vapes, you don't really have an odor of marijuana. So somebody could be smoking THC right in front of you, you never know it. All right. This is a chemically derived from THC, so the potency levels are through the roof. What's the normal potency level? If I have the best marijuana that I could buy on the street, what's my THC content? Do I know? That's really good. That's a really good number, 33. So it's typically what we can get, 33 to maybe 40 if you get really good hydroponic marijuana. All right. What's this stuff coming in at? What else? Yeah, I mean, if you got 100, somebody doing some really good. So I mean, I've seen 85 to 93%. So think about the potency level, okay? This stuff, if you buy it in bulk, we could probably get it for about $25 a cartridge. Your kids in the high school selling it anywhere between $35 and $45 a cartridge. So for the money aspect of it, if they get a couple in, they start selling it, then that money goes up. I always tell a story about a case that we worked with one of our investigators. It was seriously, a 17-year-old kid that we knew he was selling products in the school. We got a tip on it. We went, we actually bought from him. We served him with a lovely search warrant, and he was packing up to go to Colorado. That was what he was doing. Mother was like, hey,
17, 18 years old, he was ready to go, I kind of let him go. The family's house was in disarray. Mom was working 2 jobs, having a hard time. So we're searching the car, he's got a safe in the back seat of his car. Well, we got a search warrant, so we could open that safe, right? He didn't want to give us the combo, there was $45,000 in that safe. All right, so think of that 17, 18-year-old kid, he's packing up, ready to go to Colorado, mom's working 2 jobs. She's like, where did that money go? And have you had that money the whole time that we've been hurting, trying to put food on the table? And he's like, it's $45,000. Now, that is proceeds of Forsyth County, drug fund now. Because he was selling us drugs, so we politely took that money for better use. But when you think about that on the grand scheme of things, a 17-year-old with $45,000. I don't know about y'all, but I've been working for 20 years and I couldn't give you $45. Okay, it is one of those things that the money does not equal out. Okay, but that's going on. He was a local high school student. All right, probably a big wig at his high school because of what he was doing and what he was selling, and all he was selling was THC products. And he thought it was perfectly fine. He's like, wow, I'm from Colorado, California. I'm just going over there now so that I can do this over there. He's like, that's what I was saving my money for. And he looked, $45,000. So, but this is it. All right. So one thing, has anybody ever come in contact with these? Anybody? Yeah. So you got your smartphone? Yeah. All right. So all you gotta do is take that product. All right, there's a barcode on there because this is a business, guys. This is 100% a business. They're not drug dealers just because they are running a business. So when you take your smartphone and you scan that barcode label, it tells you exactly what it is, how much it costs, what the percentage of THC is. It tells you everything on there so that you can know. So if you come in contact with some of these things and you see them, there's a barcode on them. Scan it on your smartphone, it'll take you to the website that it came from. Obviously, they're trying to sell you more, but it'll tell you what the actual percentage of that product is. Everybody know that?
No, that's no.
Well, guess what? They said all I had to do was teach you one thing, so I'm done.
That's very helpful. You're winning today.
So real quick, this stuff here, guys, you can see there is a little, I mean, they look like Skittles, but you can see little oddities in the packaging. Because obviously they can't do the trademark. But all that is just gummies, it's THC infused. Now, the big kicker on all these products, when you talk about THC derivatives, if it's minus plant material, it becomes a felony. It is a Schedule 1, okay? Don't pass go, don't collect $200. So if you get away from the marijuana specifics and you start doing this chemical compound, not leafy material, what happens then? It becomes a Schedule 1. So my little 17-year-old that thinks he knows the world and he's got $45,000 in cash and he is going places in his life, just got a possession of a Schedule 1 with intent to distribute, which does not hold a bond in Forsyth County. So his trash got his $45,000 taken from him, and then we put him in the Forsyth County Pokey for a couple of months because you can't deal drugs here and get away with it. Okay. But what I teach when we teach high schoolers, I'm like, guys, please listen to me on this. Okay. You do not want a Schedule 1 possession with intent. There is no difference you selling these products and turning around and selling methamphetamine. It is a Schedule 1, Schedule 2 narcotic, and the penalties are exactly the same. Now, the judge can kind of play on that just a little bit, but for the most part, these kids think that they're perfectly fine doing what they're doing, and they're not going to get in a lot of trouble. And then you have a lot of 17-year-olds that have possession of Schedule 1s with intent to distribute. There are some issues there, okay? And then you kind of open their eyes just a little bit that the things that they're doing are not right, okay? So if you have regular marijuana, just think about your younger days, you know, the marijuana that stinks and smells and it's green, leafy, plant material. Those are all good. You got to have over an ounce of marijuana for that to be a felony, or you have to be selling it to become a felony. But most of the time, it's within this sphere. If you minus plant material, automatically a felony every time. If that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, Brian, one thing for your users, a couple of years ago when I was out on patrol working, we got a medical call on an overdose on THC. Okay, where you had a college student that went to UGA or may still go to UGA, getting his THC carts out at school from his dealer out there. I guess his dealer had a certain THC vape with a certain level, say 40% of THC in it. He's used to it. Well, school's out, he comes home for the summer. He gets through his little stash of THC vapes. He doesn't want to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours away because his dealer is probably either still there or back at their house. So he starts reaching out to his local friends here, find out what connections and dealers you have out here. Long story short, he gets hooked up with a dealer that may be much closer out in Forsyth County or North Fulton, and gets vapes from them, the THC vapes. Well, instead of the 40% one, he's getting 90%. Okay, so with that being said, his tolerance is not accustomed to the double THC level as opposed to what he's been doing at college. You know, to say he starts having his heartbeat or feel like it's exploding out of his chest, sweating, convulsions, the whole nine, about thinking he's about to die. So that's the things when you see some overdoses that you may come across tolerance. It's just like what say alcohol. You have someone that's accustomed to the normal standard alcohol concentration, and then you start drinking one that has a much higher one. It's apples and oranges. Okay. So you're gonna have people that are, you know, not accustomed to certain levels, which is the THC products, they do vary significantly from a much lower dose of THC to a much higher one. So you're gonna have someone that comes across it and it's not gonna jive well with their body, what they're accustomed to.
What's the difference between Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10? No clue, right? No clue. Would y'all like to know? Yeah. All right, cool. So Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10 all deals with potency. Okay, every bit of it deals with potency. So your Delta 9, if you take your marijuana leaf, okay, or your marijuana plant, there's multiple derivatives in that plant itself, right? So that's how people get with this CBD oil, because that is a derivative inside the marijuana plant. The most active ingredient in there, and the one that's produced the most, is Delta 9. Okay, so that's the active ingredient in marijuana, THC9. So Delta 8 and Delta 10 are also produced within that marijuana plant, but they're so limited quantities right there. I mean, there's very minute amounts of Delta 8 and Delta 10. So what happens is when you take that plant and you want that derivative out of that plant because of the potency levels, which Delta 8, Delta 10, they're low. All right, so they're not going to get you as high as Delta 9. That's why everybody likes the Delta 9. So with the Delta 8 and the Delta 10, for you to make that in mass quantities, it has to be manufactured, it has to be produced. Okay, so the plants that they have, they extract the Delta 8 and Delta 10 out of it, but then they have to chemically enhance it, right? So that's where the problem's coming in, that we're selling these on the shelves, Delta 8, Delta 10, that they're legal because of what law that was passed? The Georgia hemp law, okay, and it says that it's 0.03%, then we have, if it's tested and it doesn't have more than 0.03% Delta 9, that it's actually legal under the Georgia hemp law, okay? For hemp farmers. But what's happening is a lot of these, because it's not readily available in Delta 8, Delta 10, it's typically chemically produced. So your stuff that's on the shelves has some type of chemical compound associated with it that could be legal, could be illegal, and that's how they're selling it. Does it have Delta 8 in it that comes from a plant? For sure. But it also, there's not a large quantity of that in each plant, so they have to chemically produce it. Does that make sense?
When you say legal for who? Is there an age? Is it 18 or 21?
It's 18, and then if it's a vape product, it's 21 under your vape rules that come into effect. So what does our county say about that stuff? Y'all know? Section 50-5 within our policy, within our commissioner's policy. You know they can't sell it on the shelf, right?
Oh, yeah, in Forsyth County, you can't sell it on the shelves. It's connected, it's something to do with being connected to advertising for liquor. So if you're advertising for liquor, then you can't sell it. So none of them are selling it if they're advertising for liquor, so they don't want to get in trouble.
So, well, it's all wrapped around their business license. So it's all dependent on how they have reached out to the business of Forsyth County, letting them know what they're selling. And that's how the infractions, because basically ultimately, if you have so many infractions, then it's up to the county to pull the business license from them. But what Forsyth County did really well, where other counties did not, is we wouldn't warn them, we wouldn't talk to them. Hey, this law is passed, or this county ordinance has passed in Forsyth County. These are the things that we do not allow in a Forsyth County business. So we would ask you to take those off your shelves, or we're going to start fining you for that. So those things are not allowed to be sold. There are some shops and stuff that are going on right now in Forsyth County that they're working on to the best angle to go after those. So there are a couple spots that are selling them, but our county ordinance doesn't allow that to happen. So that's that part that I was telling you about, the Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 variances. That's that gray area, right? So, you know, right and wrong, and then there's in the middle. And that's kind of where we're stuck, trying to figure out and navigate those rounds. So that's what Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 is. Okay. So this is just, remember what I told you, minus plant material, wax, oil, shatter, resin. Those are some of the, you know, street names that they're gonna have. Why would they want to do this? Potency. That's it. They're just, you know, extracting the THC and they are enhancing, getting that potency level to go up, which makes their high go up. That's what it's for. Remember, that's a felony though. If y'all ever see, y'all seen these little silicone containers like this? Have y'all ever seen those? Those silicone containers, wax every time. If you see those psychedelic containers that are silicone, it's THC wax every time. That's the only thing that I know that those things are used for ever. So if you are doing your, you know, your searches for defects, if you're, you know, talking to kids or you see this on their phones, they're using that for the sole purpose of wax. Why does it need to be silicone? What up? Yeah, it's sticky, and then also because of the tool that's right there to the right, so that they can scrape it out. All right, so it has to be the silicone for both of those reasons, and they seal it up. This will have an odor of marijuana to it. The THC oils do not typically, but this is a big way. Smoking dabs. We talked about marijuana in great detail. This was a case that we made out of Forsyth County, being 200 pounds of marijuana. What was important about this though, not necessarily the fact that we got 200 pounds of marijuana. I mean, that's pretty cool. But on the grand scheme of things, it's a lower quantity. I mean, we've gotten 2,000 pounds before, so I mean, 200 was a minuscule. But what we did here is this was through the United States Postal Service. So we found a female that was getting large quantities of marijuana shipped into her house. We played the United States Postal Service. We delivered her 45 pounds of marijuana. And then we took a search warrant in her house, found 200 pounds. But what she was doing is she was taking this resin. So what she had was a huge, basically spinner. She was buying super low grade, we call it Mexican mints because it comes from Mexico. It's low grade marijuana. She was buying it in bulk because of the price. She was putting it in her, I actually don't know what it's called, but it has a cooking, but it basically looks like a tumbler. She took the resin off of it, and then she put basically these little, like, I guess eyeglass cases, little things like little jewelry cases. She would put a piece of marijuana in there, and then she would take that resin and dab it on top of it to make what she was calling moon rocks. And we had heard about her for a long time, but she was in the nightclub scene in North Fulton. A lot of the clubs like the Derby, different drinking clubs there, she was going and selling all of these moon rocks. But she happened to live in Forsyth. So we got a tip from Fulton, worked it in Forsyth, and that's what she was doing. So, but it was cool how we got to her through the Postal Service.
It's amazing how, you know, these people are pretty smart, but yet, you know, we think they're dumb to be doing drugs, but they think about ways to sell this stuff and make this stuff. It was not much.
I mean, the one, I mean, everybody mentions don't get called. So I have a saying that I try to teach all of my younger deputies, because once you start getting into this, I call it a game. So once you start getting in this game and you're trying to make good cases and big cases, you just keep going and going and going, it becomes a game. We have to be lucky once, they have to be lucky every day of their life. Okay, and if you look at that and think about that, is we gotta get them right, all right? So when we do the search warrant, we have to be correct in why we doing what we do. But they have to be lucky every day, we just have to be lucky once. We just got lucky once. Who knows how long she's been doing this? We got lucky one day and we ran with it. But they are, everybody thinks criminals are, they're healthy. I mean, there's some super, and I'll be honest with you, the most intelligent criminals that we have, and when I tell you this, you're just gonna be like, out in the world. The cartels are super. Everybody thinks that it's just like this, crazy, just, everybody, beating everybody up and doing all this kind of crazy stuff for their cartels. Highly intelligent. Highly intelligent. Very hard to catch. So 4 ounces, 1 pound. I'm gonna move through this, guys. We talked about marijuana pretty good bit, but I want to make sure that I get y'all out of here at a decent time. So has everybody seen the faces of methamphetamine?
Yeah.
Meth will always be super big here. Why is that? It's cheap. That's in a roundabout game. When you think about cocaine, so we do drug categories. So cocaine and methamphetamine, they're all stimulants. They're in the same. The reason that it's cheap to do methamphetamine is because the long lasting effects of the high. So if I bought $100 worth of cocaine and $100 worth of methamphetamine, I'm probably getting around the same amount. That's probably close to a gram. Depending on who my dealer is, blah, blah, blah. But about a gram for $100, that's probably what you're gonna do with cocaine as well. Maybe a little bit more expensive on the cocaine. You're high on cocaine, it's 5 to 90 minutes. That's it. 5 to 90 minutes, you gotta do it again. You've lost everything you had. Methamphetamine is 12 hours. So for the demographics here, all right, because I mean, honestly, if you go to the south end of the county, yes, there are some $1 million homes there.
Got money.
I can take you to the north end of the county where there's houses that don't have floors in them. Okay, so we see both sides of it. And for your north ends, I call it Parks Road because we are on Parks Road all the time. But for Parks Road, methamphetamine is it's all over the place there because that's what they can afford, right?
It's kind of your poor man's drug, where cocaine is more your rich man's drug.
It's not saying that it doesn't intermingle, but it's that's when you talk about demographics, okay? Methamphetamine super large here in Forsyth County. Does anybody know that y'all know we don't have cartels in Forsyth County, right?
Wait, what?
Y'all know we don't have any cartels in Forsyth County? I'm kidding. So we do, we work multiple cases with cartels. We do have a cartel that's active in Forsyth County, and we have busted them and they keep coming back. But it's the Sinaloa drug cartel. They are a large organization that runs methamphetamine and also heroin / fentanyl typically. Okay, so methamphetamine is huge. The color, why would they put color in methamphetamine? Or it's a business market. Very good. So some people think that adding food color in their methamphetamine separates them from others. Maybe their methamphetamine is a little bit more potent than the guy down the street, so he's marketing his methamphetamine. I will tell you one thing about methamphetamine though. All right, if I send Ruger into a methamphetamine world over on Parks Road and I give him $1,000 to go buy methamphetamine, I can seriously do the search warrant the same day and I will not get my $1,000 back. There is no money, okay? Because as soon as they get it, they use it. They're either using it to buy more dope, they're paying their bills or doing this stuff. So I always say, hey, if we throw money to a methamphetamine, trafficking case, just know you're not getting your money back. You might get it back in broken down lawnmowers, but you're not getting it back in the form of money. But if I go do that same thing in a marijuana aspect, people selling marijuana, THC derivatives, there's a great chance I'm probably gonna triple, quadruple the money because of their profit margin is so, it is there, okay?
To give an idea on that, last night we did a buy on, we're not going to specifics, but over an ounce of methamphetamine. And we came back with a search warrant about 45 minutes later, because given what Brian's saying, the demographics, had we waited a day or two, that money we would have never recovered. And we were able to obviously recover it pretty quick, which is, helps our case, because every dollar bill, 120s, 50s, all have serial numbers on them. So we're able to take photographs of our money beforehand, before dealing it, and then finding the exact, currency with the same serial numbers at that residence afterwards, that solidifies the case. But given demographics of who we were dealing with, that money would have been gone within 24 hours. I'm half asleep, but we were out till 2 in the morning last night, so I apologize.
I don't have to do that anymore, guys, so I'm like well rested.
I'm running on 4 hours right now.
Last night, I love it.
Yeah, but Ryan went to bed at 7:30. I was up.
You're pretty doggone close. I'm like, no, I had to get Ellie at 9, so I was out. This is 70 pounds of methamphetamine, that we actually got on a cold stop. What a cold stop is, no tip, no nothing, just that guy looks good, we stop him. He did not listen, to Biggie's, song about being a drug dealer. So this was on the holiday weekend. He was high on his own supply. And he was arrested, 70 pounds. That took us into a drug trafficking ring that took all the way up to Tennessee. And once we were in Tennessee, we hit multiple labs. But that's what's flowing through Forsyth County, guys. Okay, I mean, it is. I wish I could sugarcoat that for you, but this is what we did every single day of our lives. Okay. Methamphetamine, we'll talk about the physicals. LSD, super important, because it's coming back. Blotter paper. Just because you see blotter paper doesn't mean an LSD is actually on it. LSD is a liquid. Your blotter paper, you have to actually put the LSD on the blotter paper, and it's typically housed in aluminum foil. Why do they house it in aluminum foil? That, and also you can actually, the sun can break down the LSD components on there. And the last one is it's transdermal. Does anybody know what that means? Goes through the skin, yeah. So LSD, if you see it and you're like, oh, that is a cool paper, and you touch it, congratulations, you're gonna be on the high of your life. Have a good day. Let me know what's still like when you wake up, okay? But it is something that you have to do. Go ahead, Rick.
For those that do, who here does searches at schools or anything, you guys wear gloves?
Yes, most of the time.
Well, hey, make that 100% of the time.
They make it 100%.
Hard to just go back in my chest just a little bit.
I was in the car last year and picked up a pill and didn't and I picked it up because and then I thought I was gonna die because of what you said. You're like, always wear gloves, and then I did. And I was like, oh my God.
You don't know exactly what that pill is. That could be pressed with fentanyl.
That's what I was afraid of.
But also LSD in it, LSD, you touch it, get ready. You're going on a roller coaster ride. A ride for your life that you never experienced before.
I'm moving through some of these guys real quick. These are just some pictures of some drugs, and how they're used. We won't get into that too much today because the time, we want to make sure, for our high school kids, big time right here. Thanks to, the rap scene, sipping on that scissor, all that kind of good stuff that they have. This is what they're doing. This is what they're using. Lean. Who uses that all the time? Who made that famous? Lil Wayne. Okay, he's pretty adamant and open about his addiction to that. And who'd you say? Oh, yeah, I mean, so they, that he's pretty open to his addiction to that and his recovery process. But that was really his drug of choice. Cocaine, guys, we talked about cocaine a little bit. It's here, but I'll be honest with you, I bought it once every 10 times that I bought meth or heroin. So it's here, it's more predominant in the kind of the high pollutants class, because a couple of things that people like to use cocaine that have money is the high is only 5 to 90 minutes. So in 90 minutes, they can get their life back together and they can go doing what they were doing before. The big thing too is that it's out of the system within a couple of days. So if you have a drug screen, it typically does not hang into the body like methamphetamine or marijuana would. Remember, marijuana attaches to the fat solubles in the body, that's why it lasts in the body for 28 to 30 days. Methamphetamine, 3 to 5, cocaine's probably less than 3, okay? So that's a big reason that people that have the money to purchase cocaine use the cocaine for those particular reasons, okay? We'll move on with cocaine. All right, so we're gonna kind of get into this narcotic analgesic drug category is what we call it. But we're gonna talk about some growing trends, and I'm going to shock the heck out of you. I'm not gonna talk about heroin. Heroin was the big reason that we started all this, and probably why we do, drug councils and why we work ourselves to be educated on opioids. Because everybody thinks that heroin's the worst, right? I'll be honest with you, and Bruder can back me up on this. I cannot tell you physically the last time that the drug task force bought just heroin. Okay, matter of fact, we can't even say that when we reach out to our dealers that, hey, we want heroin because we're just naive, right? We're not in the times. It's fentanyl, all right? Every single thing that if you say, hey, I'm buying heroin, you're not buying heroin, you're buying fentanyl, okay? That's what's coming through. A big problem that we're having a lot now is that 70 pounds of methamphetamine that we found. Guess what was also in that methamphetamine? Fentanyl. Okay, so when we started busting down these cartel labs that led us on this case, not only did they have large quantities of methamphetamine, they actually had large quantities of fentanyl, and they were mixing them all together to make what they considered to be a better product. So your methamphetamine addicts, they talk about, all the cooks that were cooking this methamphetamine, all of them were addicted to fentanyl because of the problems that they had mixing those together, fentanyl was their drug of choice. And they told you, openly admitted that hey, I'm gonna have some problems going to y'all's jail because I'm gonna be, coming off of fentanyl. Oh, well, y'all were cooking methamphetamine. I don't use that. Okay, I use that. So that is a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. Heroin is still here, but we buy fentanyl every single day, and it's a different color.
We just bought some the other day, but went there to bought heroin, and the dealer gave our person heads up, hey, just go easy on this, it's got fentanyl. He's buying it, he doesn't like it, the dealer doesn't like the fentanyl, and they tried to trade it off, but he tested himself. So he's giving us the user a heads up of, hey, go easy on what you're getting here. This is gonna have an extra power of punch in it.
My mom passed away from fentanyl years ago. And my question is the fentanyl, because that wasn't even her big description, it wasn't really that infiltrated. The fentanyl coming from overseas, or is it being prescribed here?
So the fentanyl that you have as a doctor, whatever, even if you have the liquid version, they're not gonna give you that to the dose that you obtain at high. Okay, it is, a great drug for, those pain receptors and knocking those pain receptors off so that you don't feel the pain associated with whatever injury you have. But what's being produced in Mexico, China, and being shipped over here, and it's actually, it can be manufactured here as well, much like methamphetamine. For the growing trend forever, methamphetamine came over here, it was super dirty. Don't see how white that methamphetamine was? That's because it was a liquid form. All right, so it came over in the United States in a liquid form, and there's a process that you do that you actually turn it into crystals. You know how methamphetamine's coming over into the county now, or into the country now? It was liquid forever, but now the US has caught up and we've tracked it, and we know for a fact that it's liquid, so they start looking. So now how's methamphetamine over here? In a powder form. Okay, so it's a powder, and they found a way to convert the liquid to a powder. When it gets over here, they have to take it from a powder to a crystallized substance, and they do that process by using big liquid coolers. So they're smart. They know how to do this. But with the fentanyl that you typically see, especially in Forsyth County, is going to have this kind of grayish, purplish tint to it. That's because of the manufacturing process however they're doing it. It typically comes with a little bit of a purple tint to it. And what I've seen a lot of times when we buy it and I look at it, I'm like, whoa, it's not heroin. It just doesn't, heroin is brown, like, I mean, every heroin that I've ever bought on the streets, whether it's Fulton or Forsyth County, it's a brown color. Sometimes you got a little China white, but you had to pay extra money for it, and it's pure. But it's brown, heroin brown, looks like a little chunky little rock, and it has a very potent odor to it. Almost sound like that, I'm just telling you this. So, but with fentanyl, it's this gray, that's why they call it gray death. It's this grayish, purplish kind of color, that comes, the fentanyl, so that's all we got, that's everything. And because what Rudy was talking about earlier and what we talked about potency, all right, that potency level of fentanyl is so much stronger. So when you have the opioids and the people that y'all deal with, I venture to say, what do you say, 80% of the people that are in your programs?
Yeah, probably close to that.
Is that a good number?
70 probably be %
Some type of opioids that comes from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest thing that happens with that is tolerance, okay? So, and it starts with pills, right? That's what we start with. Why would it start with pills typically?
Working my
Readily available, socially acceptable. It's the same thing as marijuana, okay? I'll be honest with you, I've been doing drug training and stuff like that. Me personally, this is just me, this is just Brian Chatham talking. I don't really believe in gateway drugs. And I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm not asking either. I do not believe in gateway drugs. The reason I don't is because I believe what's readily available was socially acceptable. Okay, so when you think about our demographics down in South Forsyth and the pills that we have because of doctors, people being able to go to the doctors, people able to pay for things, they get those medicines because the doctor prescribes them, they leave them in their cabinet, and all of a sudden now their kids are using these pills. That's because it's readily available and socially acceptable, not because of the gateway drug. You know, every person I've ever talked to, they haven't readily said, oh, I started smoking marijuana first. You know, I've seen some methamphetamine addicts that, oh, I don't like it, I just smoke that. You know, but that's what they had available to them, so they started smoking meth at 12 years old. So there is a term for gateway drugs. For me though, I think what's readily available is socially acceptable. Okay, that's just me. But let's talk about real quick. We talked about heroin and what we're getting to. Let's talk about prescription drugs. This is huge. This is the biggest thing that we have to deal with. Ruder can back me up on this. And when we talk about prescription pills, the chances of me going out and actually buying a USDA 100% certified Xanax pill, slim to none. Okay, it's just not that available anymore for us. So when I go to the streets and somebody said, hey, you know, Xanax, when it usually costs me $5-10 a pill, and they're like, hey, $35, you can have the Xanax pill, it's that. So they're taking these Xanax. These look like, I mean, can y'all see this okay? Looks like your typical Xanax, right? I call those bars, that's what they're calling the street, Xanny bars. That Xanax right there is all fentanyl. It's pressed fentanyl to make it look like a Xanax pill, okay? These inbox 30s, who's heard that over and over and over again in your opioid world, right? That's all kids talk about are inbox 30s, inbox 30s, inbox 30s. I haven't bought a real inbox 30 in 2 years, okay? And if I do, I'm paying out the wazoo for them. And they know I'm the police anyways, if I'm willing to pay $60 for a pill. So you gotta be real careful with that kind of stuff. Like you gotta know what the going rate is for these, because they'll try to get you a new person on the street, you're gonna pay more, okay? But that inbox 30 right there, does that look like every inbox 30 you've ever seen in your life? Matter of fact, if you pulled it up on your phone right now and looked up inbox 30 and they showed you that beautiful picture, no way you'd be able to tell. What you can tell, size and color. The size was completely off and the color is completely different blue. These right here in a cookies THC, these inbox 30s, they came back at 93% fentanyl. So we're buying inbox 30s, or our kids are buying inbox 30s because that's what they typically use and they get 93% fentanyl. Guess what? They don't do it anymore. Okay. So those are the things that we have to watch out for. And y'all have to understand that if you're talking to these children and talking to these kids and they're talking about buying Xanny bars, buying inbox 30s and stuff like that, you need to raise that red flag, okay? And start talking to them, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Cause I guarantee you they're not buying real pills. What you got?
Question, so if fentanyls and everything, is it just super cheap and that's why they're?
Super expensive, super expensive. So just to give you a little, like, if I bought a kilo of methamphetamine, which time you have? You're gonna do. So if I buy a kilo of methamphetamine, good day, let's say $3,000 to $5,000, okay? I usually do that down to 3 to 5. If I buy a kilo of heroin / fentanyl, 28.5, so $28,500. All right, so that's the price difference. So super expensive, but little goes a long way. And so when you talk about tolerance levels, I got you, I have my timer on. If you're talking about tolerance levels, remember that if I take a little bit today, think of the level of I'm getting high, okay? Don't think about therapeutic doses and just needing to get by. I want to get high, that's why they're doing it. So if I take a little bit today, all right, tomorrow to achieve the same time, I have to take a little bit more. Next day, I'm gonna take a little bit more. A little bit more, I overdosed, I need to cut back a little bit, right? And then I go a little bit more. That's how that tolerance in the body works. So what's fentanyl on the streets, as predominant as it is right now, they can't go back. So they have to find a way. They have to find a way to get that more expensive, because that's what's curving the market right now. Okay. So does that make sense? That explained to you good enough? We talked about a lot about how we investigate this. This is all through traffic stop stuff. This PowerPoint, it has some really good indicators of how we do our job. But that's not for this type of scene, okay? So what I'm gonna do real quick, I kind of talked about a lot of my high points about what I wanted to get out and where we are in Forsyth County. So that whoever needs to leave can leave. I'll stay just for a little while longer. If you have a specific question that you just want to ask me, ask Sergeant Reuter. We'll be here just for a little while, and then he needs to get some sleep because he's not a nice guy. I have to go to SWAT training, so that's kind of what we got on the agenda for today. So
Can I see that little investigation? Can you go to that next, I'm curious, sorry, okay.
So it's just, so this is basically how we teach. I call them, we have an academy that runs at our building, so I call them kids. Don't take that the wrong way. But my academy, because we're just starting, I just call them all kids. But this is what we teach the kids to kind of get them started in the process of finding drugs. But it just goes through the probable cause that we need to be able to search somebody's car, to use the dog, all that kind of stuff.
Can you tell me how much, are you seeing other drugs like fentanyl, like marijuana and the rest?
Yeah, I mean, like back in the day, a lot of people used to lace, PCP with their marijuana and stuff like that. It's not that prevalent here just because of the potency level of the derivatives. I think if we didn't have the potency level of, the THC oils, the vapes, and the resin, I think you might see that a little bit more, but no, I haven't really seen it. I haven't seen it. We haven't had any. We've had people say that it's been laced and they're freaking out, but no confirmed lab results that come back and say that there's been some type of lacing on the marijuana, just high potency levels.
Well, if you guys have any more questions, please ask after, get involved, but let's give these guys a big round of applause. Okay, so before we leave, this month, Recovery Bus Tour, this is for everybody to come to. Before you leave, if you don't mind, take a picture of the flyer, post it on your social media, send it to a young person, have it them post on it, spread the word is the point. Other than that, meeting adjourned, guys.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks.
Next time, whenever that is. Good to see you. At least.
Your father ever eat.
I have to screen my ball. Who's going?
He doesn't get it. We'll see.
Really.
Good seeing you again.
It's good to see you, and thank you all for all the trips.
So you wanna see it?
We're trying.
And save kids' lives.
Trying, we are trying for sure. So,
Yeah, and you've got a really good job. I mean, it's all hard, but I can't imagine. There's a position that you've been in, and you're keeping it going.
Yeah, trying.
It's daytime, it's
Trying.
daytime. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hard to say you get to be with your kids.
That is the number one reason that I left. The job opportunity came available and I can go be a soccer coach, so.
Well, we are so if you train it, because I think this process.
We try. We try. Thank you. Good seeing you again. Yes, ma'am.
I know it's here. You said Park Road. Aaron Thomas. I just moved to Forsyth a few years ago. So anyway, you're like Park Road. I'm about no, that's
Okay.
But I get it.
No.
Space right behind me.
No, it's nice. Yeah. It's the, you know, the street. Well, yeah. And then it's just. It's
Would have been mad.
Yeah.
They changed the hydrants, so that their product gets different than other products, so that they can do the business aspect.
Yeah, I would be so mad. What are you doing?
Well, congratulations. Yeah, no problem. Yes.
They talked to her.
Yeah.
And then she reached it. Yeah. And let me know. And email me. Okay, so it's. You almost sounded like my email.
Yeah, I mean, like. Because I think it's gonna come almost.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna love him.
I say that.
He's a New Yorker.
Okay, seems like I'm on the joke.
He is really.
Well, our parent committee, Ashley and Melanie, they reached out to you yet? They're like, okay, I was like, no, talk to you about wanting to do stuff, giving them calls.
Y'all are amazing. I mean, I can't beat this up. I mean, it's good for me. Our jobs, it's good for you. Like, I've been talking right. Y'all are hard sometimes. And I'll take love to be in the best. In my second life until I say all this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be dangerous.
I've always wanted to help.
Especially for the guys that are. Yeah, so I had a program here, and I taught every seventh grade class. Going into fourth grade, and they understood what it was like going into high school. They started that through the program, but now the programs that they have changed. I started in middle school, so Pam's kind of like the new bear. She does, but now she's with the school system herself.
Thank you guys so much.
You ever talk to Josh Bell?
Yes, I talked to him almost daily.
Can you just, I mean, you
Just give him a
ride him and
When I see his name on my phone, I kid you not, I turn the phone around, they give it 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, here we go. We talk again.
yeah, so.
Just ask him if he's gonna be able to do this job better today. Yes.
I don't know. I hope I don't talk to him today. I really don't. want to
Yeah,
say.
I'll make sure that he calls.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good one. For your.
See y'all guys, y'all have a good one, thank y'all.
Speakers and mouse for the speakers, it was like a interview ones. 3 or 4 speakers in a row, and we've got. One thing with the big. What a big. There's a talking school in there, like a convention, I think. Fox bottles and the drinks and Fox bottles and all kinds of, like, you know, mounts, computer and like multi-strip outlet, the battery.
Yeah.
And so that, because I'm just the whole rest of that element, probably went up to my child, I did, you know, I don't. And I'm already got enough of this.
No, you.
Probably, but it's like, we do it in assessment, we have done it long enough, I have almost memorized in our intakes. These two staff. Strengths and weaknesses. Check marks. And one of them on the strengths, it's like resources / strength. Are you just always checking, like, did you never check? Store. Yeah. Have to learn that. And it's sort of jurisdictional, I don't allow to display it. And now everybody has to display it. I'm just like, yeah, I need a single today. That. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's, yeah, it's like another word, I guess.
Yeah, it's more of like, I don't know.
But you have never.
Yeah.
Well, or lender or I just see the border pass. Marble, like fashion, the top carry. But you have those guys, I have to go back into my, like, if I was guys talking to you, or me, supervise my life. I don't have a supervisor. Yeah, I need I had a friend, and she was. Right now. Yeah.
I know.
I actually probably, if she's doing running the program.
Yeah, that's the problem.
If you ever want to work for me,
Yeah.
no, that's hey, but it's good work. You have to know what you're getting into at the moment. It's hard. I work. And it's a program. Like it was counseling. It's a lot of people. We regulate inside. I mean, they regulate everything. You need to update the treatment plan every 60 days to don't have your make sure it's auditing in the administration is responsible for this. If people understand, it's not make it hard for counselors today. We have so many agencies requirements to make all of our credentials, and we have some good credentials.
See you guys, have a good day. See ya. Later.
Hi, Anna.
What's that? It's like, dude, like that. Check the lead or-
Yeah, if you're interested, I mean, probably stay, I specialize in. And then You're gonna just get excited, everything like pages of paper, space it up, but you can, when you can do the people that are going with the rules, you almost get to practice.
Yeah.
You have some playing techniques, it's not like you're certified,
You know,
but you can.
one thing of the,
Yeah, it's focused on art, you get some funding for art. If it's for kids.
and.
For adults, for kids, because you have to do it for adults. There's a little funding for that, but there's not, so it's a world, it's a different world, it's not high as pay. I always thought it was not. But anyway.
I was like,
Okay, great. I was like, wait, you have a job or something? And that was gotta be.
but.
Used to like.